As a songwriter, I feel like the majority of my time is spent trying to craft something timeless. The beautiful paradox of simple words creating a vivid story has always drawn me to stronger writing, and I've always revered work that finds new ways to explore this concept. Writing songs can be a pretty complex process if you don't have a blueprint, but you also don't want to lock into a songwriting template either. Finding a balance by studying concepts is the easiest way to learn your authentic style of writing, and you can apply these to any genre. As I've grown as a writer, musician, and producer, I've learned a few more subtle ways to enhance my songwriting through these 4 non-lyrical concepts. Number 1, create as many patterns as you can across all concepts. One of the most interesting parts of how we consume music revolves around pattern seeking. Now, pattern seeking is how recognition and repetition engages the encoding of our short-term memory's content into our long-term memory. The psychology behind this is pretty complex, but for the purposes of enhancing your songwriting, all you need to know is that the more patterns you use, the easier a song is to remember. We usually refer to this as how catchy a song is. Now, this doesn't mean that you should repeat every single melody in a song. There are exceptions, but it's almost always negatively redundant. However, what you can and should do is use more subtle aspects of the song, like the strumming pattern, the drum groove, the bass line, etc., to hold a secondary pattern. If you write each section of the song with a different secondary pattern in mind, your writing is going to be dramatically catchier. Here are a few examples of how you can apply this. One of my favorites is placing traditional Latin rhythms into choruses. I wrote a song for my band Raw Honey called Dagger, where I based the entire chorus secondary pattern around a Partido Alto. You don't need to know anything about Afro-Cuban studies at a college level to understand what this is, but it sounds like this. I will play a pitched up clip of the song so it doesn't get copyright striked on my own video, but listen to the strumming pattern and the drum groove in this. That subtle syncopation in the 2-bar groove that repeats throughout the entire chorus is something that really ties together just how catchy it actually is. Another great example is in Blank Space by Taylor Swift. There's a 3/2 clave where they omit one of the notes. I can't play that song for you, but if you go check it out, you'll hear the boom, 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 boom. Sorry for the shitty beatboxing, it's just what I gotta do to explain it. My recommendation on writing is to find a pattern that feels natural for whatever song you're working on. If you naturally gravitate towards a specific Latin rhythm, that's awesome, but don't try to force it. The best thing that you can do is learn these patterns and each of their names. If you can reference one while crafting lyrics, chords, or a story, then you'll be able to implement it much more naturally. If you want a cool exercise, try writing a song around a 3/2 clave or a Partido Alto. Tip number 2, consume more high quality media. One of the most beneficial things that you can do for your songwriting involves focusing your attention on other forms of storytelling. This can be through any form of high-level media, or even just spending more time with your friends and family discussing life. It'll help reframe your perspective, give you details to latch onto, and convey emotions in fresh ways that music simply can't. Your job is to figure out how the inspiration from these different forms of art can inspire you as a songwriter. Over the summer, I watched like all of Attack on Titan in a single week, which is kind of crazy. I don't recommend you do that. However, the story was executed so well, I just couldn't put it down. The action, the character development, dramatic irony for both the viewer and the characters, which is insane, are just a few of the characteristics that really stuck out to me. I remember comparing it to a flawless, conceptual, multi-genre album. It covered so many aspects of great storytelling, and it got me thinking, why don't I just pursue music that is just as groundbreaking? I've really tried to keep that in mind writing ever since. Outside of TV, this could be movies, video games, books, and any other form of art-based media. Really try and limit your exposure to low quality and socially draining media as well. That's essentially cognitive junk food. Think about it like this. You don't want to eat a bunch of McDonald's when trying to learn how to cook a perfect steak. Don't do that with your songs either. Tip number 3, authenticity is king. If you've written songs before, you've probably found yourself ripping another song off, intentional or not. This might be melodies, lyrical choices, or even song concepts. Here's what I've learned regarding authenticity. The less you clone another artist, songwriter, or concept, the less you're gonna fall on your face trying to write something better. Don't waste your time or effort unless you're trying to understand how the artist got the concept in the first place. I love the song Her by Chase Atlantic, mainly because I can't think of a single other song that paints such a vivid picture of falling in love with an LA woman who masks the pain of her absent father while chasing fashion, drugs, and money. It's an incredible song, and it really encapsulates that late 2010s American pop culture in a perfectly executed story narrative. This is a song that I've tried to replicate many times, and I simply can't. It's one of a kind, but you can always write your own one-of-a-kind story and make it into a song. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a chance that you can write an existing song concept better, but make sure your ego doesn't disrupt your artistic quality control. It's more common than you would think, and if you're writing alone, that filter is essentially non-existent. Stay humble throughout the process. Another thing that you can do is pray for songs. It works. If you don't believe me, just give it a shot. Finally, tip number 4, write more songs in general. Imagine if the timeless hit song that you wrote was going to be 25 songs from right now. You'd probably be stoked to write all 25 of those songs. Now, not every song needs to be timeless, and not every song needs to follow the basic pop structure. However, when it's time to write the hits, hopefully these tips will give you some clarity on not only how to get there, but how to polish your writing even more. If you want to check out some songs where I've implemented these tips into my own writing, I've linked my discography in the description. I hope this video is a valuable resource for both budding songwriters and existing ones looking to organize their concepts just a little bit better. Bottom line, keep it creative, keep it authentic, and keep it in the hands of God, because He hands us all of the songs from heaven, and it's our job to intercept them and express them adequately. If you think that makes me sound schizophrenic, then you're probably not praying hard enough for the songs. So get on your knees, ask Jesus for a hit, and see what happens. Not to get too preachy on you, but Jesus gave us all the ability to write and intercept songs that He throws us from heaven. And if you don't view it that way, I implore you to open your mind just a little bit and see if you can receive one, if you ask for it. I never even wanted to be a songwriter until I felt randomly called to do so, and I'll explain that a little bit more in my testimony, which we'll go over at some point soon on this channel. And if you're not religious, I hope you take these concepts and go make amazing art anyways. Hit subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to do more songwriting content because I don't feel like there's enough good songwriting content on YouTube, and it's our job to make better music and spread this knowledge to the rest of the world. So take the rest of the day, go write an amazing song, and let me know what you come up with in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.